This is my chicken pot pie. I know, it looks really good. So follow along. I'm going to give you the step-by-step on how I make these little pies. It's time consuming because there's a lot of little steps, but it's not that tough. Enjoy. Welcome to my kitchen. Steve here again. Today we're going to make chicken pot pie. Now, this is a pretty tough dish, but all there is just a lot of steps. First step, we got a couple chickens. Now these are just little fryers. Last night I seasoned them up really well. Use your favorite seasonings, whatever you want. I just make sure there's quite a bit of salt, and when you let it sit overnight, it just allows it to get in and dries them out just a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of parchment paper down, a little bit of water. This is going into my barbecue. Now you could put this into the oven if you wanted to, if it was cold outside, but I prefer the barbecue. And we'll roast them off for about an hour, bring them up to about 175, and then we'll let them cool and take the meat off. That's going to be the meat for our pot pies. Alright, let's get on with step number one. We're making the soup stock now for chicken pot pie, or this is the same one I use for my soups, every recipe that I use. I keep it quite simple. Basically I'm just roasting down a bunch of bones that I get from thighs when I cut the thighs out. I buy a lot of thighs just for my stir fries and things like that, and I just cut the bone out and then I freeze the meat, freeze the bones whenever I want chicken stock, bring them out, put them in the oven. We're going to brown them all off, and then we'll just boil them up, make some stock out of them. It's the economical way of doing it, or if you don't want to do it this way, buy the stock in a can. There's some pretty good quality stuff out there, but I prefer to do my own. So season them off really well with some kosher salt and some pepper. Get all mixed up. Oven's on convection at 400 degrees. We'll chuck them in there till they're golden brown, and we'll bring them up, make some stock. Okay, bones are browned off. Chuck them into some water. We're gonna boil this off for about, an hour or so, like that. Not on a high boil or anything like that. Just nice and easy. Okay, what I also like to do is add a little powdered soup stock to give it a little bit of a help there and some flavor. Not much. Then we're going to boil this down for about an hour. We'll strain it, pick the meat off the bones. Our stock is ready. Now we could add a little bit of salt to this at this point, but I don't want to add too much. We can always add more when we do our dish. That way we don't oversalt it. Put a couple pieces of garlic in. Got a couple in there already. So just give her a light hit, peel it, and then I just cut her into smaller chunks, and then just give her a little hit with it. Now if you hit it on an angle, it's just going to go whoosh. So make sure you straight down. Shot like that, you're good to go. Alright, a little bit of a progress report here. Coming along. Now, I've got it just on kind of a medium low on the left hand and then high on the right. Let's take a little longer. She's a rainy day today. Well, it's been about an hour. So now we're just going to, I got a strainer in here. So let's just pour this off. Go slow. Might be able to do this without having to dump the bones. I think I'm gonna be able to do her. Okay, we're gonna let everything cool so that we can take all the meat off the bones. That's gonna take a little while. Chicken is up to temp, so we pulled her off the barbecue, so we'll let that cool. That's gonna take some time. Meanwhile, we will pull all the meat off of our bones. Now you gotta be careful. There's a little bit of gristle and stuff in here, so take your time. Kind of feel as you're going so you don't get any surprises. Time to take the meat off the chicken. One of my favorite jobs, I don't know why. Still a little warm. We'll get by. So we'll just get all the meat off and then we'll cut it into bite-sized chunks. It'll be perfect. There's the wishbone. So when you get, when this starts to cool, all the fat's going to rise to the top. What I do is just take my time, turkey baster, get everything from underneath, and then you just eliminate the fat. There. Perfect chicken stock. Time to get cooking. Okay, a little bit of oil. Now, we got the garlic, a cup of celery, chopped celery. Don't make them too small. And a cup of yellow onion. Now we're just going to give this a bit of a light fry, not much at all. Just going to get some of the flavors out of it. Just add a little bit of stock. Okay, we're just slightly wilted down. I don't want to bring the camera over, it'll fog it all up. So we go on with our soup stock. Bring that up. We'll add a little bit of water to that. We'll throw in our chicken. So this is almost 2 small fryers here. want a lot of chicken in here. I want to leave enough just for a sandwich for tomorrow. Looking good. Okay, at this point we're just going to taste it, see how we are for salt. Needs a little bit more salt. Now, you just want to make sure that your seasonings are right on the money. Once you got it put in your little containers there, it's too late. Just needs a bit more. A little bit of pepper. I usually go with about, maybe a teaspoon of mustard powder. And this time I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to. I just took the mortar and pestle and took some sage leaves. I got about, a little over half a teaspoon there. Okay, we're going to bring that to a boil. Let the flavors come up so that we can taste them. And we can add the rest of everything. Delicious. Okay, we got the boil on. Our flavors are just right on the money. We're going to do 3 cups of diced potato. Our cup of carrots. And probably a half a cup of frozen peas. Now normally I'm winging it. I'm not measuring out anything, but for purposes of today I am. Basically you want it to look good. Now if you look at that, hope you can see it. You know, it looks nice and balanced out. Right amount of chicken. Right amount of potatoes. Okay. Now we just want to bring this to a boil. We don't want it to cook too long because we don't want to soften those vegetables. Alright. Milk. It's just a 2%. You can use cream if you want. That's going to smooth everything out. Now another thing that's important, you don't want this too brothy. You want just enough broth just to make it work nice. I don't know how you describe that. I don't know. Just don't make a runny soup. Okay, now we're getting close to a boil here, so we have to thicken this. So what I have in here, about a half a cup of cornstarch. Now you could do a roux. I've tried it that way, but I find that the cornstarch just works a little bit nicer. And I've got this dissolved in some milk. Give that a whirl first. You just bring it to a boil. You don't want to really boil it really hard, but you want this to be fairly thick. You know what a meat pie is supposed to be like, so. It's coming along good. Okay, we're going to need a little bit more cornstarch. I can tell you that right now. Basically, the amount of cornstarch that you're going to need is just the amount you're going to need. Make it a mess. Okay, now we're getting close here. Now we're looking good. A bird's eye view of what it looks like. Now if that makes some good sense to you, and yours looks like that, perfect. So we'll just be patient now, let that cool. I did adjust the seasoning a little bit, added some more salt, and a little bit more pepper. Got her right to where I like her. Time for the puff pastry. Now, I just buy these at my local store here. Just a little tin foil rectangular unit like that. Not a big one. You can go with a big one if you want. But these are kind of portion size. Well, portion for me. So, I need a piece of puff pastry to go over top. That's what I use. So I buy my puff pastry. I haven't got the patience to make it or the, you know, that takes some serious know-how. So mine comes in a little square like that. Basically I cut that in half, roll it out, and it's perfect for what I need. So we'll just throw down a little bit of flour. Cut this in half. Roll her out. Perfect. Time to make the pot pie. So we've left this cool. We had to leave it cool because if it's too hot, you're going to start to melt the butter on your puff pastry. And you really don't want that to happen. So basically, it's pretty simple from this point on. Let's fill her up. Piece of puff pastry. You just kind of pinch it into its spot. Done deal. So these are all going to get frozen, and anytime I want to have a pot pie, I bring it out in the morning, let it thaw, and at supper time, 400 degrees for about 40 minutes till she's golden brown. Comfort food right to the max. Trust me. Last step, we got to get them ready for the freezer. So basically what I do, a little bit of cellophane, and then I go over top with tin foil. Now, this tin foil, when you take it off, you put that in the oven, put this on top, because it may boil over. So it has two purposes. A little bit of freezer protection and boil over protection. Done deal. Wrap these up, we'll throw them in the freezer. Our pot pies are done. There you have it, chicken pot pies. So, out of everything that we cooked today, we got 8 chicken pot pies. Now they're pretty big servings. One's missing because I had it for dinner tonight and it was really, really good. Delicious. I did the math and it worked out to be about $2 to $2.25 a serving. And you know, that's a pretty big serving. But really emphasize the fact that a person should be doing this more often. That is really good value. It really did take a little bit of time. There's a lot of steps involved. But cooking should be, you should just love it, enjoy it. And if you do, this is a great thing to cook. I hope that you enjoyed it, and if you like what I'm doing, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll just keep cooking for you. I really do enjoy this. So, I am going to keep cooking for you. So I hope that you keep watching. I had a good time today, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.